Welcome back to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. If you're just joining us, we just spoke with representatives from Milwaukee Public Schools Department of Black and Latino Male Achievement. We'll now shift our focus to a social service agency that started in the late 60s as an outreach program for teens and has grown to a full-service, state-of-the-art organization that serves more than 18,000 people a year right in the heart of Milwaukee's South Side. Raymond Rivera is the Youth Development Specialist for the United Community Center. How are you, Raymond?
Hello, I'm fine.
Thank you so much for being here. And I think it's really important to first off point out that 30% of the people that you serve are under the age of 18, and more than 40% are actually living at or below the poverty level. So the subject that we've talked about today, just the achievement amongst young people of color, specifically males, I think it's important to hear what you have to add in dealing with young people on a daily basis. So first and foremost, under the umbrella of the many things you do, give us an idea of some of the things you offer at the United Community Center.
Well, first of all, it's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, there are so many things. It's a large campus.
Yeah.
I work in the pre-college department, and when the kids graduate from the middle school, 8th grade, my department will track those kids for the next 4 years, preparing them for college. Mm-hmm. So we do a civic engagement, a volunteer program that we'll talk about shortly. There is an elementary area. There's also a preschool as well, which the kids start there at the age of 3.
Wow.
So there's a state-of-the-art boxing program where the kids compete nationally and as well as around the world.
That's amazing. So you're like really, like a lot of community centers, really specialize in spotlighting academics as well as athletics and really creating some superstar student athletes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's really what it's about in many ways. And our focus, like I said, has been on young men of color, and you work with a large percentage of Latino males and females. What would you say? Is it more men or women?
The same, both.
Just really
men and young women. One of the things, along with the importance of the academics, we want to prepare them for their education and for college, but as well, UCC is very prideful in the sense that we want to prepare their characters as well to deal with the real world. Many of the things, this self-esteem issue amongst the Latinos, young men and women, when we work with them in an in-depth manner and doing civic engagement, working with our local law enforcement, city officials, as well as the after-school programs, they begin to take pride and ownership, especially in their community as well.
So you mentioned self-esteem. So what are some of the things that you feel are really getting in the way of, them having that positive self-esteem from the get-go? What would you say are some of the barriers?
I would say some of the barriers are the social media. I ask the teens all the time, and it's trying to keep up with whether it's a post on Facebook, whether it's a video and someone wanting to look like this individual that looks so hot on here, and the young men trying to live up to those that are in some of the videos, the rap videos.
Yeah.
So one of the programs that I facilitate is called All Stars. It's an evidence-based model, research-based for over 24 years. And unlike other drug and alcohol prevention programs that focus, don't do this, it'll fry your brain, don't do this, you'll be incarcerated. This one focuses on their future ideals, their goals, their dreams. And we'll discuss how these risky behaviors can get in the way of them pursuing that ideal future of being an engineer, being an accountant, being a super chef, So it's really neat to see how they grow in that 20-week
I love that. So with your All-Stars program, you also emphasize the importance of postponing sexual activity, reducing fighting and delinquency in middle school youth specifically. So what are some of the things that you do in order to really drive that point home?
Well, what's really neat about this curriculum is I'm the facilitator. The sessions are set up in the sense where they are being held accountable by their own conversations with one another. For instance, if this young person wants to be an attorney, we'll talk about that journey and some of the things and the obstacles. We'll talk about the current obstacles in their way and how to overcome those. But when they deal with understanding that these things are going to happen, we're not saying these things, you're going to be able to avoid them. It's the fact of dealing with them and staying focused on that ideal future.
Yeah, knowing how to deal with
that's
it.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So my last guest, I asked them, what were some of the things that they, as African American men, dealt with in America. So I'd like to get your really perception, or your perspective, I should say, on being a Latino man in America. And clearly, you said that a lot of the youth are dealing with this whole concept of social media. Well, growing up, we didn't really have that. So what were some of the things that you dealt with?
In
your
life?
own personal life.
I would have to say I grew up in one of the most diverse areas in Milwaukee, which is one of the most segregated, or the most segregated city in the nation, and it was the River West area. And at that time, there were white, black, Latinos, all mixed, and I had a wonderful experience of not being culture shy, because it was all around me. But although growing up in the early 70s, it was a more Caucasian neighborhood, so I dealt with being called taco, okay, but yet the culture and the love of our family, and that's one thing that the Latinos, one of the ways that they overcome a lot of these barriers is their culture. The music, the arts, a lot of the family gatherings and traditions like quinceañeras. So for me, it was martial arts and a local youth group at the church I attended. That helped me find my identity at a very young age.
All very important things. And you guys spotlight volunteerism. That's a huge thing as well. You have what's called the Youth Volunteer Corps. So if you would talk about some of the things they do as volunteers and how that helps shape them as who they're going to be as an adult.
That is a program that I just love. Real soon we'll be entering into what's called our summer recreation program, where over close to 300 high schoolers will volunteer in this program, ranging from 8th through 12th grade. And they will assist a group leader, and the students, they'll anywhere from 20 to 25 in a group. What's really neat is this is the first experience in volunteering. These kids are shy, they don't know, I've never had a job, but what's interesting, they'll have an opportunity to volunteer with close to 100 hours in a 5-week span. Versus someone trying to do 2 hours here, 2 hours there, and some of these schools require the volunteerism. But what it does is shows them leadership skills, shows them the responsibilities of looking after a kid and mentoring them as well. This truly is just the beginning stage of that character and them coming alive and getting to know who they are. My daughter didn't want to do the program. I forced her to do it. She was very angry. She says, "Dad, I know you love children." I don't. By the time we were done, she hugged me and kissed me in front of everyone, because she said, "Dad, this program changed my life. I didn't know I was going to fall in love with these kids."
That's amazing. And so with that, with that said, really, sometimes they could volunteer somewhere and realize, hey, this is something I might want to do, as a career. So really, that's all you need is that spark in realizing what you're good at or what you really enjoy. And once you do that as an adult, being able to do something you love or something you're passionate about, it's not work. So once they see that and feel that, then it's much easier to help them navigate academically on what they need to do.
That's right. We have many of these Latino kids that come in very shy. And when they do this program, I think of a young lady, Blanca Sierra. She couldn't even look at you in the eye. She would just turn away. This program changed her life. She wound up graduating from Dominican and Whitefish Bay. She wound up going to Alverno and graduated. She's now working for Northwestern as an accountant.
Wow.
But she was molded in that character at a young age.
That's a great success story.
Yes.
And the thing is you have as well a school achievement programs like for after school.
That's right.
And that's huge in helping young people kind of stay out of the streets, stay out of trouble. Once school's over, they're headed to UCC, and you guys are paying attention to everything that's going on. So it really is that safe place for a lot of young people as well.
That's right. And what's really neat, there's that portion of the volunteerism does not end in the summer. These kids throughout the year, these high schoolers, are continuing to mentor these kids. And once that bond and that relationship and giving hope to that young individual that, hey, I'm having trouble with my academics, whether it be English, arithmetic, someone is there to guide them. But it is that fostering that relationship and that trust that later on just winds up being an impact in their lives.
Yeah, and I think what's even more important in just looking at your website, you offer something for everybody. So whether someone's 3 and coming through and dealing with some of your programs, or 103, you've got something there for everyone. So the UCC really does serve as that facility that is set up for the entire family, which is so important. So if there's someone that's in the neighborhood or would like to take part in some of your programs and services, what would they need to do?
Stop by and visit.
Just come on by.
There's something for everyone. And our senior citizen program is state of the art. And when I say state of the art, not just the facility, but it's also the love that these seniors are getting. Free of charge, someone above the age of 52 can come in there. They're going to learn arts and crafts, tons of cultural activities, as well as get a nice home-cooked meal. But amazing, amazing with what happens with seniors when you get old and you're not all there. It's that camaraderie and that fellowshipping that goes on that is so important.
Yep, it helps make a difference, that's for sure. And as we prepare to wrap up, there's a couple of things that I wanted to mention. Last fall, you guys broke ground on a new building for UCC's Acosta Middle School.
That is correct.
And that's set to open this fall, so I'm sure you're really excited about that.
We're very excited about that. The school was named after Israel Shorty Acosta, which is the Olympic boxing coach, and his wife, Dora Acosta, which was the dean of students, and she retired from the United Community Center. But again, there'll be a lab, there'll be a wood shop, there'll be so many state-of-the-art programs so our kids can get the full encompassing experience during middle school. So we're very excited about that.
Well, I think it's amazing, all the great things that you're doing there at UCC. Thank you for coming by and sharing it with us, and continued success.
Thank you.
Raymond Rivera is the Youth Development Specialist for the United Community Center. For more information, you can go to unitedcc.org, or you can give them a call at 414-384-3100. That is going to do it for today's show. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. As always, I thank you for watching, and I do hope you join us again next week as we take another look at our issues Milwaukee. Have a great day.